I am the admissions manager for the GBA program, and with me today, my colleague Samuel, who is also an admission manager for the GBA program at the International University of Monaco. So today we're going to get to know a bit more about, a lot more, I would say even, about the GBA program in our university. And with us today, we have Dr. Domenico Campa, the program director. Hello, Domenico.
Good morning.
And we more especially have also with us our alumna, Dr. Karolina Ivanauskaite. Hello, Karolina.
Good morning, well, good afternoon now already, but hello.
So the idea today would be to for Karolina to share a bit about highlights about the program, tell us about her experience, and of course you're welcome to ask all your questions to Karolina. Feel free to write your questions in the Q&A section, so we'll be able to address them during the course of the webinar or just after the presentation. So without further wait, we will start with a short presentation of the program itself. So Domenico, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Audrey. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So I'm Domenico Campa, so I'm the director of the Doctorate in Business Administration program at the International University of Monaco. So it's a real pleasure to welcome you to this webinar where you will have the opportunity to hear directly from one of our successful DBA graduates, so Dr. Karolina Ivanauskaite. But just before we begin, let me introduce the DBA program to you. So the DBA program is designed for experienced professionals, entrepreneurs, executive managers, so whoever wants to deepen their analytical and research capability, but at the same time remaining close to the practice. So the aim of the DBA is basically to combine the academic rigor that academic researcher should have to some real world practices. So the program is structured over 3 years, where during these 3 years, the aim is to give you the skills that you need to become like professional, let me say, researcher. However, today the focus will not be on a long description of the program, because the aim of this webinar is to give you an authentic perspective on the DBA experience from one of our successful candidates, so she can share first-hand insight about what motivated her to do a DBA, how she managed the program over the 3 years, all the challenges that she encountered. So then, this could be a real opportunity for you to have an experience from someone who has done that from, let's say, a student, a candidate perspective. So the session will be structured as a very informal conversation between Karolina and me. So I will ask her some question about her experience. Then we'll also may have the time at the end for some question from the audience. So I really encourage you to make this interactive, so you may note down some questions. So at the end, we can discuss this with Karolina. So without wasting other time, so Karolina, thank you for being with us today and for being for your willingness to share your experience with potential future DBA candidates.
My pleasure.
So
Okay.
I would start, like, if you could briefly introduce yourself and describe basically your background before starting the DBA
Okay.
program.
Actually, like a relationship with IUM with me started like for a long time ago, like 10 plus years, when I did my master degree in luxury management. And then I moved to London. I worked in retail, in operations, in luxury brands or premium brands. So I worked for like Cartier, Jessica McCormack, and Michael Kors. So my main focus was I did a couple of years in retail, so working at Cartier, then moved to the head office to work in operations, and then I worked in other companies as well in operations. I always had a dream to work in marketing, and actually the pivot point was like COVID, when COVID happened, and we were locked in at home. There was a lot of opportunity to think through what's my next steps, what I would like to do, because I always wanted to do like and to work in marketing, but it was a bit hard to pivot in the UK. So so then I was thinking, what shall I do? And then I researched a lot of like programs. I was like thinking, maybe should I go to academia? So it was a lot of thought about that. And then I started to do a research. What's the best opportunity in terms of price, the living cost, and everything you need to consider it when you do like DBA or PhD. So so after all this, I decided to do DBA, and I'm super happy about it. Yes, it was great choice.
Great. And I mean, you were mentioning about like thinking about a PhD, a
Mhm.
DBA. What made you choose the DBA and not the PhD?
Yes. So first of all, because I'm a very practical person, so I really want to see the difference in the companies, and for me, it was very important to understand and have the knowledge, not because looking at like spreadsheet and like of the company's finance, but also like from theoretical perspective, that because it's scientific, it's grounded in science, so like all theories. So it was very important to see this through making decision through those lenses, first of all. But the also when I was researching, so I researched DBA like at IUM, then I was looking at the PhD, and the problem, like for in my personal case, it was too theoretical PhD, because of course we like through DBA we learn about theories, we do research and etc. But for me, it's more what I liked about DBA, it's more kind of like applicable, and I was like, I always see, okay, if I have business problem, like how I would do it from research perspective. Where like for me, PhD, it was long, it was 4 years when I looked at it, it meant for me to move to a different country, to quit my job. And at that point, I was not like able to and wanted to. So it was very great balance, because DB allowed me to work, but as well as and study at the same time. So that's kind of it was well kind of my motivation to choose DBA over PhD. Yeah.
Oh, I see. But you touched a very important aspect, when you mentioned that the DBA allowed you both to do your studies and to work. This
Yes.
lead to the next question that I have, no? I mean, what was the most challenging aspect of the DBA program? And also, I mean, given that the DBA program, as we said at the beginning, is addressed to like entrepreneur or already experienced manager. So that, I mean, every candidate has also a professional life, a personal life, but at the same time, the DBA is quite demanding. So how could you balance these
Sure.
two aspects?
Of course, it's commitment, long-term commitment for sure. So you need to, I think, before going to the DBA, or you need to really think through and what you can sacrifice, what you cannot sacrifice a little bit. Because like, of course, during the week you go to work, you do things after work. Sometimes you're tired, but however, you still need to motivate and do like reading some academic papers, do some research. So it was very important to keep the momentum. And of course, during the 3 years, for me personally, it was like, up and down because of the workload. It depends. But I think it's very important to have self-discipline, meeting the deadlines, because we had assignments during those during the study. So it was very important for me. And of course, sometimes you just need to not go out with the friends. You have to do some certain sacrifices, because it's a serious study. So however, you need to just be prepared. I think mentally, like it's 3 years and you're fully committed to that. And for example, during the heavier periods at work, maybe you leave it research a little bit like for a week or two, and then you come back again. Then you maybe work more on the research when it's a bit more, when it's when the workload is a bit less, at work. So like you manage it, you just need to find the right balance for yourself, I think. But self-discipline, I think it's one of the things that you really need to have in order to not only study, but also work in academia.
Great. Yeah, I completely agree. And Karolina, maybe we didn't say it at the beginning, but Karolina is now a professor, so at the International University of Monaco. So, which means that you moved to the academia after the DBA. So, I mean, how did you transition like into an academic career coming from the professional world?
It was I think a bit of faith, I would say, in that sense that first of all, I had I had really great professors who supervised me during my DBA, really great, and gave me not only like advices from in terms of research and like supported me through that process, but also like push me like, okay, I'm sure you can do it. So because I was a bit shy, I was not sure, I was not teaching before, so so I had opportunity to be adjunct professor for 6 months, and I really love it because for me one of my favorite part of my job is like teaching students, communicating, exchanging ideas, do some activities during the class. I think that's what really keeps me going. From like, so that's what I loved. And then like there was open a position at IUM, and I applied, and I'm happy to say that like now we are colleagues with Domenico. So it's very it was very kind of smooth transition. But of course, before going to DBA, I had not a lot of ideas. I had only few which way to go. So it was or academia or like consultancy in that sense. So for me, I was like thinking through things, but everything played out for the better, and I'm actually super happy. I moved to Nice and I work in Monaco. So I just like life, like I think life work balance is really good, and I really enjoy what I do. So I think that's very important.
Great. So, did your professional background help you during, let's say, your academic job or during your classes with the
Yeah,
students, with the research?
definitely it adds value a lot because especially when I teach luxury management groups. So then it's basically I can give real life example from my own experience in terms of like in luxury setting when we speak about luxury, because from different angles, from customer point of view, from company's point of view, the expectations. So it makes more natural, I would say, and to give and set certain expectations for the students, especially like bachelor or master degree students, so they would know what there are expectations in the luxury. So that side really enrich the teaching. And of course, academic side is really good because like then we have theories, we learn from them, and so I think it's both. And for example, from the research perspective, it's very helpful when I see, let's say I'm reading some news and I see that some companies has some issues or like sales going down, for example. So I was like thinking then, okay, from consumer behavior, because I teach mainly that, how we can shift it around, and then you can read about theories and build the models, test them, and make a publication. So I think it's very nice balance. That's what I love. Yeah. So it's kind of great balance between both like practice and theory. So yeah.
Great. And I'm sure students appreciate because they want more and more to see that what we do have a practical impact, so they will also ask
Yes,
for more like a practical example. Yeah.
of course, of course, of course. Because like, of course, theories is very interesting for me as well. However, like, or the applications or what the things like, for example, maybe it would be great in one setting, but not the other. So you always need to critically think about how you can solve the business problem with theory and an experience that I had before. So yeah.
Right. But is there anything you wish you had known before starting the program?
Hmm, it's a good question. I think I wish I relaxed a little bit more because, like when I entered the BA, I was so like stressed and I was like, oh my God, how I will do it. Not because of work side, but because it was very different than what I've done for 10 years. So for example, reading the first academic articles, it was like, wow, it's so different. So you need to get used to that. But I think I had such a support from like the teams, from like professors, and because we are like professors are so like personal and we can always talk about it, and if I have any challenges, they really like help to move forward. Or for example, when you start your DBA, like you have so many ideas, but when you start reading, you have even more ideas. And then, to define even the research questions, it changes 10 times. So you need to, I think, be patient and do not stress, just trust the process. And there is a great support that really helping you through to go through that way. Yeah.
Oh,
In that path. Yeah.
yeah, very interesting. And now,
Yes.
based now, I mean, on your experience, so what advice would you give to someone considering doing a DBA?
Um, I think in general, education is very important. And I think the more you are senior position in a company, the more you need to have this knowledge, not only from practical knowledge, but also theoretical knowledge. Um, for example, I had some colleagues who basically entered a DBA because they had their own businesses and then they wanted to solve certain issue, for example, and it really helped them to develop some like new business strategies, for example. So you can go to what I like about DBA, it kind of gives flexibility a lot. So you can go to academia, you can go to pure academia, you can be like adjunct professor later, so or visiting professor, but also you can work in a corporate company and apply your knowledge, theories and knowledge, and you know how to do research, what to look at, or what is important. And I think knowledge is it's a key in any businesses or in any research. So I think it's important, yes, from both sides.
Right. So thank you. So that's a very interesting conversation. I would like to know if there is any question, maybe curiosity from the audience.
From the audience, there is no specific question for Carolina. I think you've been pretty exhaustive, but our participants don't hesitate. It's still time to write your questions in the chat or in the Q&A section.
I
No,
have maybe
yes.
sorry, maybe I have a question for Domenico, like because he's like what would you recommend for students like before DBA, entering the DBA? What the kind of how to prepare themselves for it? Like what kind of Mm, what do you think? Because it's conversation, so like it's nice to talk like about my experience, but also like from program director because I'm sure it involves in time. I finished my DBA a year ago, and do you what do you have? What kind of advice would you give to the new students?
Yeah, good question. So I would like, let's say, use one of the words that you used before,
Mm-hmm.
dedication and commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to make prospective student aware is that the DBA it's a journey that is demanding. So
Mm-hmm.
then they need to have dedication, they need to have commitment, but I'm totally sure that this commitment will pay off because being an academic, so having always in the middle of reading paper theory. So maybe it's true that I may lack a practical side, but I found that the PhD in my case, but also the DBA, open your mind. So
Yeah.
you start to have a questioning mind. So
Mm-hmm.
everything that you see, you say, okay, but why is it is going like that and not like that? What I
Yes.
can do differently. So in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, this could encourage people that already are in the professional world to add this, let me say, reflective thinking, critical thinking that with the day-to-day business may lack.
Yes.
So for
And
yeah.
yes, and I would definitely, I could confirm that because when you work in any company, you start to be like in a bit of a bubble, and you know about your company ins and outs very well, but sometimes to open your mind and see different perspective is a bit harder because you know your company so well. So I think that what DBA helps a lot is just first of all, like reading all these academic articles is for me it was like learning a new language. So because it's like theories, you need to understand theory, certain words, the way it's framed. So it was like it's like learning. It was very great and very interesting, but at the same time a bit challenging experience. But I think definitely agree with you that it opens your mind and see things from different points of view for sure, for sure.
The other thing I would say to prospective student is to trust us because at the beginning it can happen that in my opinion that a student can say, okay, what are we doing, we are reading a lot of abstract
Yes.
stuff, so the value of the DBA start to be understood after at least 1 year or 1 year and a half. So at the
Yes.
beginning, yeah, I believe there could be a sort of, okay, but what am I doing? Do I have to read all this stuff? Doesn't make sense. So in that period, so I think they should trust that
Hmm.
what we ask you to do will lead to something.
Yes, 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 yes. I think that's if you're coming from corporate more world, that's what is a bit more challenging for like at least for me it was, and for students like to just to because we had some tasks like we had to do like prepare like for example literature review and etc. And it sounds easier than it is. And so definitely, and also because in the beginning you already probably come with the idea or in DBA like, oh, I would like to solve certain issue, for example, or build my own company or whatever. And I think because you encounter so many theories and so many ideas, and to crystallize all the one idea, what you actually want to do, I think it takes time. That's why you need to read a lot, and definitely you need to be patient and trust the process, trust the professors to because they really lead you the way the best way it's possible. So yeah, I agree. Any questions, Audrey?
No, still, let me check maybe. Um, Yes, well, no question, but we can maybe say a few words about the admissions, Domenico, if you would like to proceed with the slides with our contact details. Perfect, thank you. Yes, in terms of admission, so it is open, of course. Applications are open for the November 2025 intake. So the intake will take place in the end of November. So if you wish to join this great program, you need to send us your application documents. You need to send us your application. It starts on the website, monaco.edu, where you will need to put your contact details. And then we will ask you to upload different documents. So we require your exposé of research statement, which is the main piece of the application. So explaining which project, which topic you would like to research about, and what sources you plan to use to have just, a global idea of your research project. Then you will need to also upload your CV, of course, to understand what is your background. We will need to get your diploma and transcripts. So in order to join the GBA, you need to have at least a master's degree. So in that case, you will need to upload the diploma and the transcripts, because we need to have an idea of your academic level. Then you will need to upload 2 letters of recommendation that can come from the academic or the professional world. It's really up to you to see who can be the ones who will be able to tell us things about you as a professional or as a student. And of course, we need to have like passport photocopy, G picture. And at the end of the upload, you will be invited to also pay the application fees, which are 80 euros for to finalize your application. When we have this, you will be contacted to have the interview with Dr. Kampa, the program director, and then you will have a feedback very shortly. I have a question here from a student regarding his application. So Abidine, so we saw your application, so you need to finalize it so that we can get back to you and give you the appointment with Domenico. So we will get back to you, just explaining what is missing, so that you can proceed and you can finalize your application at the shortest. So if there is no additional question, no, nothing on our side. So maybe Domenico and Karolina, we have just 1 minute before finishing this webinar. So if you have one final address that you would like to give our audience.
I would just want to tell them that they don't have to be, let's say, scared about like the work they have to do if they decide to go for a DBA, because really it's something that add a lot of value to a profile of a person.
And from my side, I think I would say I would really recommend to be like students to be very open-minded, because there are so many things and angles during the the DBA program that you discover, and I think just not stress and just trust the process, trust the professors that leads during that way. So during that path. So I'm sure like it would be my advice as a previous DBA student for sure. Thank you so much, by the way, Audrey, Domenico. It was lovely to see you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Karolina, for your important view on your experience and on your advice. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody who attended this webinar. So we hope we can see you in the future.
Thank you very much, Domenico. Thank you very much, Karolina, for all those insights. And thank you to our audience for having attended today. So we hope to see you maybe soon in our DBA program in Monaco, and wish you a very good day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.